So before we get into the show today, I just need to offer an explanation. I want to apologize to Dr. Savage. I pulled multiple wrenches today. I just got an influx of people complaining about the chat this morning, and with everything else going on with the sound problems, I just pulled a bunch of wrenches. Okay, so it's nothing personal against Dr. Savage. He's a great channel. Love his channel. If you haven't seen his work, you should check it out. Moderator on this channel. It's just we need a cooling down period, and I need to establish some clear rules, and I didn't do that with Dr. Savage about what he can time people out for and what he can't. And up to this point, he's been perfect. So again, no negativity towards him. But you guys, we're not having flat earth discussions in the chat. Okay, that's the standing rule. If you want to do that, you've got to go to another channel. And it has nothing to do with my beliefs about it. It just becomes all consuming. It's like a virus, right? And everyone's talking about that. And meanwhile, we're having sound problems and no one's really listening to the show. So why be here if that's the case? So I need to establish that as a clear guideline. And when I do mod people again, if someone keeps talking about flat earth and wanting to debate people about it, you'll be timed out, warned, and then you'll be basically blocked from the channel. So let's get into today's show. Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees is Donald Trump. Now, this is crazy because I wasn't expecting to see what I found. Now, I'm going to do this particular decode in screenshots because I'm starting to realize that even viewing some of these clips can have negative effects on some people. But you need to realize that these aren't just slasher films. These films go much deeper with the metaphors and the symbolism, and that needs to be exposed. So let's look at the numbers first. Then we'll get into some of the still frames from Friday the 13th, 1980. Now, this was the first film, of course. There are 12 total films in the franchise. The film is set to 1958 when Trump was 12 years old. Now, if that was the only synchronicity, I would have stopped there. There would be no decode. But there's much, much more because that number 58 fits right in to Trump's life. We saw it over and over again. 58 rooms at the Mar-a-Lago mansion, 58 stories at Trump Tower, and all the other 58s we've uncovered on this channel and other channels that also have discovered the 58 synchronicity. In fact, two of the actors, Kevin Bacon and Crosby, were both born in 58. Let's look them up really quick after a sound check. So here's Harry Crosby. Looks like our sound's good. And he was born on 8/8/58. Now, this is crazy. He's 62 years old right now. Then, of course, Kevin Bacon was born in 58. So you have a pair of 58s here as well. Everything in Trump's life is pairs of 58. That's why he has a Mar-a-Lago mansion with 58 rooms and Trump Tower with 58 stories. Here's Kevin Bacon. This must have been one of his first roles, but he was born in 1958 as well. Now let's get into some of the other stuff here. Now, when this released in 1980, let's go back here so you can see this. Released on May 9th, 1980. That was, at that date, Trump was 33 years old. Now, it released 6 times 6 days, or 36 days before his 34th birthday. And the film is set in a place called Camp Crystal Lake. That's CC, that's 33. In the opening of the film, it shows the actual date that it is set to. Let's see if we can pull that up, which is June 13th. And this would be the very last day that Trump would be 33 years old. Here's Camp Crystal Lake, 1958. Now, they reference the year 1957 as well. That was the year, apparently, Jason drowned. But 1958 is where it's set to. Here's the truck driver driving one of the camp counselors into the camp and talks about the murders that took place. Here is her talking about Jason drowning in 57. Trump lives on 57th Street at Trump Tower. Now, you're going to also see a 5G whiz component to this because this is all about electricity. Here's the opening of the film as the girl is walking through town. It's 7:01 on Friday the 13th of June. This was 1958. And Trump was 12 years old. 7:01 is 17 backwards. Now, even if I had found all that, I might not have done a decode. But there's more. Because when you look at the calendar date of when this film released, and I want to show you this so you can see it with your own eyes. May 9th. This is actually Election Day, 2016, the day that Trump was elected. And if you subtract 33 years, 33 months, 33 weeks, and 42 days, it arrives on the date of May 9th, 1980. Not just May 9th, 1980. The date of the release of Friday the 13th. Now this May 9th date is very bizarre because this is the day before Donald Trump's mother was born. She was born on May 10th. And all of us remember the Quantum Leap episode where it is set to May 10th, 1958. And Donald Trump appears in that episode as a boy, 12 years old. Weird, right? Now, what else is going on here? Well, there's more connections because Trump not only has a birthday one day from Jason Voorhees, but they were both born in the same year. So just imagine, the day before Donald Trump turns 75 years old, Jason will be 75 years old. He's one day younger in date and year from Jason Voorhees. Now we have ourselves a decode and a video because this stuff is very real. Now what is happening here? I don't know, but it appears as though there's some kind of spirit behind this, does it not? So now we have all the Trump connections. We've got his mother's connection, May 10th. Now, his mother died when she was 88 years old, just like the woman who plays the mother of Jason in Friday the 13th. She is played by Betsy Palmer. This is her here. She died at 88 as well. Now, they died in different years, obviously. Betsy Palmer died long after Trump's mother. But this is weird. Now, Trump's mother was also mugged on Halloween. Never fully recovered after that. So, we've got synchronicities between the mother, Miss Voorhees, and Jason Voorhees, and Donald Trump and his mother. But there's even more. Now let's get into the backstory about what this particular slasher film was all about, because I believe that these numbers point to a very hidden and dark secret. So, these teens go up to this summer camp, and the murderous mother, which is, you see her here, Betsy Palmer, Jason's mother, basically goes on a killing spree because she's angry that her son Jason drowned in the lake because of the camp's negligence. So, every time a new crew of campers arrives, she murders them. Well, she did at least the first film. Subsequent films, she got offed in the first film, and then it becomes Jason, basically getting revenge for them killing his mom. But here's the weird thing about all this. The method of killing is, more often than not, arrows. Now, why is that significant? Because we've been talking a lot about arrows, haven't we, lately? Now, look here. Kevin Bacon's the first one to get it with an arrow. Here's the screenshots from it, so I spare you all the gore. That's a younger Kevin Bacon. He's much older now, obviously. This is from the 80s. But he gets a spear through the throat. Remember Trump's coat of arms, the spear coming out of the head? Now, I just watched the most recent Friday the 13th. The most recent one came out in 2009, and another guy gets a spear through the head. So there is a connection here. And by the way, the 2009, the most recent, the 12th installment, is a retelling of the first installment. So it came full circle. And here we are under Trump, full circle with all the Friday the 13ths, the 12th installment, and this is set to when Trump was 12 years old. You can't make this up. You can't stretch it. It's just part of the Matrix. And I'll get to what I think is happening here at the end of the show. So, Kevin Bacon gets an arrow to the throat from underneath the bed. And you'll remember the Donnie Darko movie quote about time travel being like an arrow coming out of your chest. Or I called it a spear. And then we compared that to Trump's coat of arms. Now, it goes deeper and there's more. Always more, right? This is crazy. Here's one of the killings here. Arrows into this guy, stuck him to the door. Flip past that. And there's Trump's coat of arms with the arrow busting out to the top of a head, like several of the killings in Friday the 13th. It's like they know something, right? And in the opening scenes, they show these crossed arrows. Now, for those of you with eyes to see, you know what you're looking at. All we've got to do is think about it for a second. 6 on one side, 6 on the other. 66. If you don't believe that's 66, you just look down, because Fox is 66. And if you look up, you have 3 and 3, 3 points and 3 points, that's 33. 33 and 66. So, the weirdness continues. This is the very first cabin they zoom in the movie. Now, behind this, they're singing a slave song from the Civil War. What was the song they were singing? It was this one. Now, it's weird. It almost has the feeling of like a Vespers or an evening like church singing thing is what it really kind of sounded like in the film. But they were singing this song, Michael Row the Boat Ashore. It's an old slave song from the Civil War, and there's your Lincoln reference. As the Union soldiers were closing in on this island, they began to sing this song. I think it was about being free. Now, electricity is another major theme in this film. These thunderstorms start to tear through, and the whole rest of the film, it's raining cats and dogs, thunder, lightning, and one of the very first killings, and you're not going to believe this, because I couldn't believe it, was in the attic, and behind this girl is a box of Westinghouse light bulbs. What have we been talking about? Westinghouse, Tesla. There it is right there. You can't make it up. This girl runs in the corner and she gets it. By the mother, Jason's mother, remember? Now, what else do we have here? Remember when we decoded Paycheck with Ben Affleck? And I showed you the Edison key and the guy that worked for Edison. We compared Edison to Westinghouse to Tesla. We were talking about all of that last week. Well, here it is again. This is the electric connection. Okay? Electromagnetics. Copper. Has something to do with all this. Now, things go off the rails here because they find a snake in their cabin. This is them all looking at it. And look at what the number is on his jersey. 88. That's Trump's number, by the way. It's the number you text. They ask you to text 88022. He was also in Back to the Future. Biff, 88 miles an hour. A lot of 88s surrounding Trump. and it's a green jersey, and they cut the head off of this snake as it's running around the cabin. Make sure we're good here. All right, good. We're not frozen or anything. Let me check in with you guys just real quick. Make sure we're good. All right. Let's watch some of these chats go by, make sure we're good. So, when I come in the chat, if I see anyone talking about Flat Earth, you're going to be immediately banned, because now people are doing it just to screw with the channel after I just mentioned it in the opening. So, you might want to delete your comment before I get in there. Let's keep going with this. So, they cut the head off of this snake. Here it is right here with a machete. Now, here's where things get crazy, because they look at each other and she's like, "Did you get it?" And he's like, "Either that or it's got a very short clone." As they all stand up looking at the snake chopped in half. So there's your clone reference. It's always there. Now, it's been 40 years since this came out in 1980. Obviously, it's 2020. And look at this. She goes out to the stall to go to the bathroom, and she reads a joke written inside the stall. Of course, there's jokes written in the stalls, and it says 40 yards to the outhouse by Willie Make It. Now, obviously, that's a joke. But who might they be talking about? Will who make it? Were they talking about Trump? I don't know. Now, if you want more confirmation, 12/25 is Apollo's birthday. And as they're heading out of town, you see 12 and 25 on the number of miles left, Crystal Lake and Tomahawk Lake. Now, the Native American thing is really big out here in the Northeast, but it's also a Civil War reference as well. This is Apollo's birthday, the sun god. Now, there's a scene after this one where one of the victims is standing in the mirror. It was the girl that went to go to the bathroom, and she starts quoting a Katharine Hepburn line in the movie The Rainmaker. And this movie is all about weather modification. Came out in 1956, and this was all about Burt Lancaster basically promising this woman that he can make rain. We know who the Rain Man is, and we know how weather modification happens. Electromagnetics. And of course, all this happens under a full moon. Here's another electromagnetic screenshot going to a high voltage because Jason likes to turn the lights on so he can find his victims. And then here's the full moon. More homicides, more of everything when there's a full moon. We got one coming up. Now, Friday the 13th was basically designed to compete with Halloween. Halloween came out first. I believe it was in 78. And then they got together and did Friday the 13th slasher film to compete with it. So the two are kind of like a pair. So if you want to draw a connection between Halloween and this full moon coming up, that's probably the case. Now, this is Miss Voorhees, Jason's mother. And there she is. Just before she tries to kill the last girl, she gets beheaded, actually. So that's what's going on with this. Now, what is really happening here? What is going on? I've got thoughts on it because this is way too much just to be one big synchronicity. What I believe is happening here, and I've thought long and hard about this for many years, decoding all this stuff. I don't believe that time travel is real. But what I do believe is that demons obviously live past generations. And we know that demons are real. Why do we know demons are real? Let's think back to the Bible. What did Jesus do? He basically did exorcisms. He took demons out of people, right? And he did that, and he would like cast them out. That's what he did. He cast out demons, right? So we know they're real. Now, how long does a spirit live? Well, they don't have bodies like we do, so they probably live a very long time, right? They're transgenerational. Let's turn this heater off because I don't want this feedback inside the... I mean, and doesn't it feel like we're under some kind of electronic attack lately? It really does to me. I don't know about you guys. But basically what's going on, in my opinion, is that these ancient demonic spirits that like to possess people, and we know they can possess animals, right? How do we know they can possess animals? Because Jesus cast out 2,000 demons into 2,000 pigs, which happened 2,000 years ago. And so what happened? Well, in doing that, just before he cast those demons into those pigs, the demon said to him, "You can't kill us because it's not the appointed time. They have until the end of time to try to deceive us." So what's happened is, I believe that they have cloning technology. We know they can clone sheep and pigs. They've probably cloned some of these ancient pharaohs, these ancient archetypes, maybe even Cyrus himself. We know that these ancient kings that had Nephilim blood were basically preserving their bodies, mummifying their bodies, putting their organs in canopic jars. And we hear science and their mumblings about trying to extract viable DNA from skeletons and things like that, right? Of dinosaurs. And there's the whole Jurassic Park thing. And the possibility, wow, that they could reanimate or recreate a dinosaur, right? Well, if you've got a canopic jar, a well-preserved mummy, you can get DNA from it. And you could literally clone that being. Now, would it have a soul? No, it wouldn't. But would it need a soul? No, it wouldn't. Because a demon can go into that. And guess what? To that demon, he's time traveling. Right? He went from being in one possessed body 3,000 years ago to being in another possessed body now. Weird stuff, right? But it's completely possible if you believe the Bible. If you don't believe the Bible, you don't believe in evil, and you don't believe in spirits and demons, then this is far-fetched. But if you're a Bible believer, this is completely possible. Now, I don't think anyone's really thought about this in terms of my Christian brothers and sisters. I don't think anyone's really given this thought. But if people were possessed back then, and he was casting these demons into different places, into different animals, heck, maybe some of these demons roam around in forests, and maybe this is why some of these religions practice worshiping of the trees in these forests and the standing stones. Do you see how the possibilities are endless? Now, I don't like to harp on this stuff or think about it because it is some negative energy. We really don't need to be sitting here discussing this ad nauseum. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that this stuff is possible and probably probable. What higher thing could you imagine Satan wanting to do than make a clone and then possess it? That would be probably on the top of his wish list, his Christmas list, to be able to possess a real human being and then have them rule the world, right? That's what the Antichrist is going to be. It's going to be basically a possessed clone. You see what's happening here? This is very real. So, what's going on with Trump? Well, I don't really know, but I can tell you what movie history is telling us. All these 66s we're finding, all these 58s, all these references to time travel. Do you think it just stopped magically at Back to the Future and Biff? You think that was the only time they were going to expose this and mention it? No. It's all throughout, as we've shown you over the last several months related to Trump. So what I'm starting to believe is that Trump got handed off a demon. And that's what's running our country right now. Casey, how can you say this? Well, he deceived everybody. We've got millions, tens of millions of Christians that are about to stand in line. Even though they already saw it on The Simpsons, they're going to go stand in line and take a VC. They're gonna roll around in the syringes just like the cop did in The Simpsons. And if you don't believe me, you just wait till this thing hits the market. They'll do it. Why? Because Trump did it and he feels like Superman. That is one of the biggest deceptions of any president that I could think of. Obama's deception was continuing. His job was to convince the Democrats to stay over in the Middle East, to do whatever that is that they were doing. Who knows? Maybe the devil was at the top of that too and really wanted us over there to try to find some relic that was going to help him reanimate some body. There's lots of theories behind that about what we were really doing over there. We know that the poppy seed is something very enigmatic. Opiates, the serpent, Ophia, the Orphic egg. It's all from the same root word. And what that means is that is the seed of the serpent trying to get to the seed of the woman. Knowledge. Opia means knowledge. It means opening of the eyes. And that's the main thing. The most resources that we put over there was in Afghanistan in the opiates. So what does all that mean? Well, I don't know. But it sure is interesting, isn't it? So, I've got just give you an update on everything going on. Got a sound card, external sound card that's going to get here today. I'm going to be testing it over the weekend. Make sure we're back live with the microphone, because right now I'm just yelling into the laptop without a microphone. It sounds okay, but it's not the sound quality that we had. So we're going to try that out. I'm also upgrading my RAM on my laptop. Richard showed me how to do it. And so I got some RAM on the way. I'm going to open up the back of my computer very carefully and install, because I'm running, believe it or not, we're running on 4 megabytes of RAM on this computer. And that's almost laughable. So that could be part of our problems as well. You see, what happens is as they keep updating the software and all, everything keeps getting updated. They force these updates on you. The older hardware can't handle it. The amount of random access memory cannot handle it. Yeah, basically the sound port went out. It's an all-in-one port. And what the all-in-one port does is it switches back and forth. It basically divides the sound from the microphone coming in to the speaker going out. And if that port goes bad, or the all-in-one port goes bad, you start having problems like this. I think that's what happened. My sound card's okay. It's just that part of it, the port. So that's all going to get fixed. And we'll go from there. And I apologize. There were some rude people, but most of you guys were understanding. You knew we were going to get it fixed. And you just focused on the work. And we've had sound problems before. We're going to be okay. So, and again, I apologize for the drama that went on in the chat. I hate drama, you guys. You guys know I do. I hate spending a minute on it. But, and I feel really bad about Dr. Savage. I did take his wrench, and I just feel bad about that. But I don't want us sitting in the chat fighting about Flat Earth and pissing off a bunch of people, because it's just not worth it, okay? There's channels to go do that on if you want to do that. This work's too important, especially with everything going on in the world, okay? So, is there anything else you guys want to talk about while I've got you here? Joe Land says Obama's a scapegoat. I agree, but Obama was evil too. They all worked together. He was actually more evil, believe it or not, because he was really good at putting people to sleep too, getting them to do what he wanted them to do. And he basically gave his side universal health care, and they were all really proud about that, right? But look, we still have that. It's just you don't get cited for it. You don't get in trouble. You don't get fined for it under Trump. It's still there, so there's something really weird going on. And I look at Obama and Trump as two sides of the same coin. One black, one white. One, making people feel white guilt. The other one, making people feel black guilt. And it's just part of the paradigm. Don't buy into it. Don't believe even what they're telling you. It's all just to try to make you upset toward the other race. That's what the whole purpose of it is. And that's why they're real sly how they do it. Obama did the same thing. Make no mistake, you guys. He was saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And look, what did he really do for black people? He didn't really do anything, did he? All he did for black people was make black people feel like, oh wow, a black person got into the White House. That's what the people from my race were saying. Other black people were saying. I didn't feel that way about Obama. I already knew he was a snake too. But that's what people kept saying. Oh, look at us. We've got a black person in the White House. I go, so? What is he doing for you? He hasn't done anything for you. Not that any of the things that he said he wanted to get done should have been done. All he did was divide the country, which is exactly what Trump is doing. They're two sides to the same coin. All right? And so there you have it. And remember, we all kept thinking that they were going to take Obama out. Remember that? And we based that on the whole Lincoln Bible. Remember, he kept pulling out the Lincoln Bible. He was doing the same thing that Trump's doing. And it didn't happen. So that's, I think, part of the psyop. That's part of how they trigger people, is what I think that's all about. To get you worried and get you to say, hey, look, see, they're going to try to kill him. No, they're not. They just want you to worry about that so that you pick your side. The whole point is to get you to pick your side. Right? Okay, so let me see if there's any other questions in here. Maybe we'll do a bit of an extended show since this is a special show. I don't have to run off of here right away. Just open up the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. You think Obama will be back too, says Mon. Yeah, they'll threaten that. And probably it could happen. But what I really think is going to happen, Mon, is that's just a threat, a looming threat that makes the right want to vote for Trump. You see how that works? It's all manipulation. It's a counterbalance. They do a lot of posing, but it's rare that they actually take action on something. Yeah, I know I'm boycotting Halloween. I'm with you on that, Marion. Biden doesn't look human. Yeah, none of them look human to me, Mount Cali. All right. All presidents are related. Absolutely, that is true. I vote Jesus 2020 as well. How far deep in truth is deep? Okay. Did you see the Luciferian Indoctrination doc? No, I haven't seen that yet. Heavenly Smiles. Rachel stays home on pagan holidays. So do I. All right. Frequencies. Biden's the preacher from Poltergeist. I'm going to have to check that out. That's funny. Okay. Thanks, Laura. Laura says we're right on target. Oh. Let's see here. The video this morning, photo with Montana wrapped around with the anaconda snake. Yeah, that was pretty crazy, huh? So for those of you that didn't catch the show this morning, we were talking all about the Apollo arrow. So that dovetails into what this show is about. So if you're a little bit lost, you definitely want to look at this morning show about the arrow and what that means and how it relates to Trump in time travel and stuff like that. We also mentioned anaconda copper. So, okay, what else do we have here? Dark Winter. Oh, someone mentioned that Trump talked about Jesus after all this time. So weird. We were just talking about this like a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And I'm like, why do all these world leaders keep bringing up God's name, but they never talk about Jesus? Lo and behold, on one of Trump's campaign stops, he brings up Jesus' name, and it wasn't about giving your life to Jesus in the gospel. It was about how popular Jesus was, comparing himself. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. How anybody can just continue. It's almost like they're rubbing our noses in it now. They're like seeing how many points they can get for the devil and then still have you vote for them to really upset God and piss him off. Like almost trying to bring judgment So going into this, there's going to be lots and lots of flubs and gaffes that are going to make you scratch your head and think, wow, I'm going to vote for this guy. But those people that have decided they're already going to vote for him, they are going to vote for him because they're operating out of fear that Biden will win and it'll be their fault because they didn't vote. Don't give these people that power. Someone says Trump was laughing hard talking about Jesus. That's called blasphemy. You don't do that. Unless you're talking about something positive and laughing about it. Like the joke, Jesus and the disciples, they drove a car. And you go, what? There were no cars back then. Yeah, they were all in one accord. I mean, if you're joking like that, it's one thing, but trying to compare yourself in popularity to Christ and being serious about it, that's blasphemy. That's the hook, line, and sinker blasphemy. You don't use God's name in vain. Plain and simple. So, Casey talks politics too much. Well, it's all about politics. What else is there to talk about right now? Like I just said about 20 minutes ago, tens of millions of Christians are about to go stand in line and get poked with fangs of a serpent. So, what else is there to talk about? If you've got something better to talk about, let's talk about it. Actually have a real question instead of criticisms all the time, and then we can discuss that. And I'm being serious. So, whatever it is you think we should be talking about right now, let's do it. All right. How will you spend your time this weekend, says Tam Tam. It's a good question. It should give you pause. Think about what you're going to be doing with everything we know. Now, look, I understand a lot of you are in certain situations, okay? Maybe you have a child and, you spent the first part of their life, observing and celebrating this holiday. And you're trying to find a way to basically tell that child, look, we're not doing this year. Look, I get all that, okay? I was in the same position. I sold out for the first 20 years of my life. I knew holidays sucked. I knew what they were about, but I was married to someone that was important to them. So we did it. Now I'm not, so I don't. It's a process. God isn't just going to take a snapshot of your life and go, oh, way back in 1992, you were, doing this or that. No, it's a process. So don't think that this year is going to be the year that you have to immediately stop doing what you're doing. But you better know that bad things are going to happen if you keep involving yourself in this stuff. God's trying to warn you, but I'm not your judge. Don't feel bad because I'm saying it. You need to pray about it. You need to go to God with all of this and ask him, why can't I break free from this? Why can't I be stronger? Or how am I going to talk to my child and make something else up? Do something else fun that has nothing to do with Halloween. Have movie night with your child or something on a day like that, on a day like tomorrow. I don't know. Now, another thing I need to say is, I don't work with a lot of channels. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm not even going to really mention channels anymore. And I'll tell you why. There's some channels that I thought was really cool. Then I find out they're ranting against God. And these are channels that I've recommended to you guys in the past. And it's not that they can't have that belief system. That's fine. That's your road. That's between you and God. But I can't align myself with a channel like that. I just can't. As much as I care about them and like them and maybe call them my friend, I'm not going to have people be exposed to that and then have their faith be chipped away at. I'm not going to name any names. Okay? And this isn't a criticism of that channel. It's just that's just crazy. Okay? I don't know. So when you guys ask me why I don't work with channels, that's why. Okay? Don't think it's because I'm on some high horse and I'm better than everybody and I'm better than anyone to work with a channel. No, it's just that what happens is when you work with that channel, all of your subscribers think that you think exactly like that other person. And what it does is it confuses people, and then they start questioning things, and then the trolls will use that. Oh, he hangs out with that guy, he's a shill. Or he hangs out with that guy who does this and that guy who does that. Or he knows this guy. I don't hang out with anybody. I never even met most of the people with YouTube channels. But I'll tell you this, we do have worked together from time to time, and I've helped them when they've lost their channels, and they've helped me when I've lost my channel. But it's getting to the point now where it's go time, and nothing personal, but this is why I don't work with channels, and I don't recommend and suggest channels. So please, 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 I just appreciate if you don't ask me which channels I recommend, because it puts me in a bad spot, in a bad position, okay? And that's just the truth. I'm just being honest with you guys. Casey, what if we are being misled? I don't think we are. You got to pray to God about that. You got to go and pray to God and ask His Holy Spirit to rain down on you. Ask Jesus for forgiveness of your sins, and ask Him to point you in the right direction and make sure you're on the right track. And if God gives you a weird feeling about this channel, then you should bow out. You should bow out. But that's not what we're here to do. So, all right, what else do we have here? Love you back, Michael. Thanks. It's a lonely road sometimes, but I have all of you guys, and that's all that matters, to be honest with you. The encouragement and the support, I read it all. And some people call that an echo chamber, but really it's not, because believe it or not, even some of the negative criticisms I take into account. Even some people that I've blocked, I'll go, wow, I need to do a gut check. I'll pray about it. I say, God, am I going the right direction? And He said, well, you might want to change this or that. And then you guys hear about it. But it's very, very rare that happens. One thing I stopped doing was complaining so much about why our channel wasn't growing. Enough people said something, they're like, Casey, just do the work. Stop complaining about how you compare to your peers. It's getting old. You know what? I'm not above reproach. And I admitted it. And now look it, we very rarely talk about that stuff. We stay on task, we decode stuff, and we get it done. We expose the enemy. And that's what we're supposed to be here doing. So, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being, you guys. I'm a human being. So, I think I can name on probably one hand how many times I've pulled a video because I made a mistake that was so glaring that it was just silly. I've done it a couple times. It's happened 5 times maybe in 8 years. So I do make mistakes. So, all right. What else do we have here? Yeah, anyone who... Look at... I'm just a guy on YouTube. Now, imagine the President of the United States acting like he doesn't need forgiveness. That's a little bit scary. I mean, we have already seen his mistakes. You mean to tell me that he never asked for forgiveness for that? That's just a little bit weird. Like, the true sign of a real person who is humble under God and Christ is a person that is first in line to admit their mistakes, admit the things they've done wrong in their life, right? I mean, we all know the type that doesn't. There are some people out there that think they're just perfect, and they walk around thinking they're perfect. And those aren't godly people. Like, you're supposed to, like, every day repent. Every day admit your shortcomings and your wrongdoings and ask for forgiveness. And share that with other brothers and sisters. That's the true walk of Christianity. Because then we all get better. We all get closer to God, right? Not walking around saying, I never make mistakes. I don't need any forgiveness. I'm pretty much perfect. No, that's not how it works. So what else do we have here? Time to research Lost Boys. Yeah, I did a decode on Lost Boys, Clifton. And I think it's on this channel. And you'll recognize it because it's got a milk carton. The boy with the milk on the milk carton. We decoded that. There's a way to go to my channel, and even on mobile devices, when you pull up my channel, there should be a little icon, a search icon at the top right corner. If you click on that, it'll search just that page. You could search through all my videos. Just type in keywords. And it's a lot easier though on like a tablet or a laptop, like which is what I'm on now. You just go onto my front page and there's a search bar. And that's how you find videos. There's like 2,000 videos on this channel. And most of the time when someone asks me to decode something from the past, I probably already decoded it. Now what I've been trying to do is put together montages from past videos. Like I'll put together 4 or 5 videos on a topic and I'll re-upload it. And that helps me, it helps you. Helps get past some of the white noise, because there's all these surrounding issues sometimes around a certain theme, and I can shed all that away and edit it and put it all back together nice and clean so that the concepts come through nice and clear, and then you guys are good to go. So I don't mind doing that sometimes if enough people ask me to look at something. So all right, great question. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks, Tam. Yeah, you can listen to all the other videos in your downtime. That's cool. Extreme Reality Check gave a shout out in the most recent video. That's cool. Now, many of you notice Shaking My Head Productions uses a lot of our clips, and I've given them permission to do that. Them or him or her, I don't know who it is that runs that channel, but they put a lot of our work over there. And in terms of being in line with someone, that's probably a channel that I could say that I'm mostly in line with. But again, there may be something that comes up that I might not agree with them on. So it's just the way it goes. All right. I don't like the date set or talk about when the end of the world's coming. Or, you know, I'm kind of, we're way past the whole asteroid's going to hit the Earth on this date or a solar flare is going to hit the Earth. We don't really talk about that on this channel. Been on YouTube so long, I've seen 100 times, literally, where someone said an asteroid was going to hit or a solar flare was going to hit. Not to say that it will never happen, but there are channels, their whole channel is all about predicting when the next asteroid or solar flare is going to hit. So to me, I cancel that out and we focus on other things that are more fixed, that we can glean patterns from moving forward, right? Thanks, T. Kerr. T. Kerr says I rarely miss a show. T. Kerr's been on the channel for a very, very long time. I don't always get to say hello to her, but I really appreciate her on the channel, as well as all of you guys. Copper in the blood. Yes, we all have a little copper in our bodies. And that's why I tell you, copper isn't necessarily all bad or all good. It's who's using it and for what reason. Copper is necessary to make your muscles work. There's copper in your muscles. I think there's copper in your bones. There's trace amounts of copper in your body. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if that had to do with electricity and your electric current inside your body? That would be pretty amazing, right? And that'll be a rabbit hole we go down one day. So, okay. We are all meant to be blue bloods. I don't think so. So the Bible draws a huge distinction between the pure blood of Jesus Christ and his bloodline and the blue bloods. Okay? And it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. We've covered this on previous videos. I'll give you a quick synopsis. The bloodline split off at Cain. Adam's bloodline is mentioned in the book of Genesis, but they don't mention Cain's. They're split off. Now, we did a video showing how 7 generations after that, there were the two bloodlines. You can see them side by side, and you could literally connect each side with a line. And when you look at it, it's crazy, because all of the names on each side of the bloodline, Cain's bloodline and Adam's bloodline, the names are almost the same. If you haven't seen that video, it's called Biblical Doppelgangers, and it's crazy. Now, we tried to get down to the root of why that would be. Why would Cain go off and name all his ancestors and children the same exact names as Adam's bloodline? And we had some theories on that, but you got to watch that video, Biblical Doppelgangers. Now, from there, God instructs the Seth line, which was from Adam, to go one way, and he instructs the vagabond, or Cain, to go the other. You guys, who settled the world? The vagabonds. They got in ships and they ran all over the world, right? Wasn't God's people really doing that? It was Cain. He was a vagabond, which is exactly what it said in the Bible. Now, it's interesting because Cain, God gave him a second chance. He says, if anyone kills Cain, they'll be cursed. So we're not allowed to kill the people from the different bloodline. But there's a difference. And then there was a covenant that God made with his people who were his people, the pure bloodline. Noah was pure. It started kind of with Noah. And there were giants on the earth, so that was the Nephilim bloodline. And God was like, okay, they're killing off all my bloodline. I gotta preserve the seed. We gotta get Jesus born so that we can save the world. He's the savior. So Noah was Jesus' great grandfather, right? And so they all knew this. This went back to the garden. They knew Jesus was going to be born. How? Man, and if I ever got like into movies, which I probably wouldn't, because you know what they do. They shut people down. They don't give you the funding. But if I ever did, I would make the most epic biblical movie of all time, because it would be about the truth, about the bloodlines. Now Noah knew. He knew he was pure, God said, which means he carried the seed forward through the flood. And the very actions that Noah took on the ark were actions that would foreshadow the coming of Jesus Christ. What do you mean, Casey? Well, all flesh was put inside a boat. What is a boat? It's a set of ribs. It's a ribbed boat. It's like your rib cage. What did Jesus do? He saved all flesh through his sacrifice. Now, how long did it rain? 40 days and nights. How long was Jesus in the wilderness? 40 days and nights. Then what happened? He was immersed in water, just like in the flood. Noah, through his actions, through obeying God, foreshadowed the coming of Christ. He released the dove. The dove did not come back. When did the dove come back? Came back when Jesus was baptized. The Holy Spirit poured down onto him. That's what's happening. And so, where does that put us? Well, they got off the boat. God gave them a second chance. What happened? Ham's bloodline went off and started building pyramids. Ham's son was Mizraim. Mizraim means Egypt. Is the very first time in the Bible that the word Egypt is mentioned after the flood. They got off the ark. All of a sudden, Ham's bloodline starts building towers to the heavens. The Tower of Babel. That was Nimrod, son of Cush. And I believe these towers are really like tree stumps. They were trying to rebuild the ancient conduits that used to connect the Garden of Eden to earth to heaven. And so this is what I believe was happening. And so these trees reached the heavens. Nimrod tried to rebuild one of these trees to wage war on heaven, probably demon possessed. God shut it down. He confused all the languages, scattered everybody all over the earth. And then came Abraham, seed of Jesus to come. And God promised his seed would number in the sands of the seashore and the stars of the heavens. Look it up. When you look at a grain of sand under a microscope, it looks a lot like what you would see looking up in the sky with an amateur microscope. They look very similar. Weird, right? So, it goes on because this whole bloodline thing goes all the way down through history. And here we are here. in the present day. So, I believe that the blue bloods that know that they're blue bloods are the ones ruling this world, and they've interbred in their marriages to heighten their abilities, their whatever psychic abilities, whatever magical abilities that they have by being descendants of the fallen ones. We know all throughout the Old Testament, after the flood, there were all these mentions of giants walking the earth. It's not a big secret. They did survive the flood. And so there are a different race of people here. Otherwise, there wouldn't be giants after the flood. So, that's that. All right, what else do we have here? Let's go back in the chat. That was a good question. The show Blue Bloods. Yeah, isn't that a show about police officers? Paulo Delphi used Ophalos web covered stone. Omphalos. Yeah, that's from the root word Ophia. So, yeah, it's all about wisdom and being able to see, eyes being opened. Opia. All right. Clones have no soul. I believe you're right, Yeshua King. They can be possessed, though. In fact, I argue that a clone would be more easily possessed, or a blue-blooded creature would more easily be possessed, or a blue-blooded person would more easily be possessed. Yes, Jory, columnar basalt is often depicted as portals. Now, Jory sends me a lot of information. He's the one that tipped us off on this whole video game with Nikola Tesla and his copper cruiser. You're not going to believe what I found, Jory. There's a time travel component to it. I've got the gameplay pulled up right here. It's 3 hours long. As soon as I get off the live show, I'm going to put this in 2 times speed. That's actually my card that's going in my RAM. But here it is here. And this is all about time travel. There's a time travel component to this. So we're going to watch the gameplay on that. That was a great lead. I'm trying to get more into gaming. A lot of people are into gaming. I want to get more into anime too. A lot of you are telling me to look at anime. There's a lot of stuff to decode there. So, all right. Just looking in the chat here. Yeah, everybody hit the thumbs up button, please. All right, so I think we're going to end the show there. I'm going to try to relax this weekend. It's kind of a stressful week for me with all the sound problems. Because the one video that I was really excited about, more so than others, I had the most sound problems on. And it was the one I didn't redo. The others I had redone a couple times, but this one I didn't. It was about Lincoln and the copper and time travel in Star Trek and all that. And that was a really good show, but it got hijacked with the sound problems. So a little bit of stress, but I mean, I feel like I have the best occupation in the world doing what I do here for all of you guys and working for the Most High and exposing the enemy, helping people wake up. Like, I truly feel like we're helping to save people's lives and snap them out of the deception that they're about to be a part of. Okay, I really feel that way, that we're doing some important work here, and it's an honor to be able to do that work for the Most High. It's an honor. All right, we're gonna go. Take care and be safe, you guys. I love each and every one of you.